How's my girl?
We are in two actual separate places tonight.
I know. Well, we're in the same building, we're in the same
Mm-hmm.
house, but
Yeah,
we're on different floors. We're trying to
yeah.
figure out all of our audio issues. Not that anybody else
Actually,
cares.
I mean, sitting in my bed, I'm sure you can tell I'm in my bed with my Dream Big sign over me that I sleep with every night, but it is like a lot more comfortable. So I'm digging it so far. Hopefully, it's good for the listeners as well.
I know we like to be in the same room, but it doesn't always work out that way. We'll figure
Yeah.
it out. But in the
Okay, can
meantime,
what were you gonna say?
nothing. Just in the
Oh, I was
meantime,
In the meantime, no, I was going to say, can we just talk about how I tried to make cottage cheese chips tonight? I see them on Instagram all the time, and they look so tasty and crispy and healthy. And so I thought I'm going to make some of these, and they're not like they were good, but they just weren't the small, crispy little chips like I had envisioned, and like they make them seem on Instagram. So
do you
anyway,
air fry them?
no, you bake them in the oven.
Okay.
Next time I'm gonna try making them a little bit smaller. It's literally just cottage cheese, and you flatten it with a spoon, sprinkle a little everything but the bagel on top, and then bake them for like 40 minutes or longer so they're brown and crispy. So, anyway,
Maybe air
yeah,
fry. Okay.
tried a little recipe
As
tonight.
we are rolling into the new year, I am definitely trying some new things, trying to, food wise, some different
Yeah,
things that maybe we haven't tried before to, zhuzh it up a little bit.
yeah.
Um, I made the Hawaiian with the pineapple, the Hawaiian chicken for tonight.
So, what's your reason behind that? I mean, I know my reasons behind eating healthy and everything like that. I'm trying to tie this into our topic because we're going to dive in a minute. Do you see where I'm going with it?
Yes, ma'am.
A little bit in a way. So, what's your reason for, healthy eating and all of that?
I
New
just feel
year,
better.
you mentioned the new year, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, the new year, my word, as you know, is listen. So I'm trying not to over talk you, but I'm always looking for different things that can be healthy to eat that are, or versions of things that are not supposed to be healthy, but that you make them healthy.
You're really
Like,
good at that, actually.
well, and you have to just be okay with it not tasting perfectly like it's covered in sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can
Yeah.
make these little peanut butter, Reese's peanut butter bars, and you put them with like Greek yogurt and peanut butter, mix it together, freeze it with a popsicle stick, and then you just dip it in sugar-free
Melted
chocolate.
chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like having a dilly bar.
Yeah.
Kind of a nice little treat. But we maybe will come up with a few of those because I think everybody needs those, especially as we're really trying to focus on our health. So
Yeah.
bottom line, it's all about eating healthy and feeling healthy. And if I don't eat healthy, which I totally don't do sometimes, give me a burger, I'm happy, but I just don't feel that great.
Yeah.
My
Same,
body
same.
just doesn't feel that great. And as the weather gets better, I definitely want to eat better just because I just feel like eating lighter when the weather's hot and stuff just is better. Like for me anyway.
I do it for all the health purposes, but I really do want to look good in summer clothes. There's that
Yeah.
too. I want to look good in
You
all
know,
my
I
clothes.
I have a wedding coming up, right? Well,
Yeah,
not my wedding.
there's that too.
Not my
Yeah.
wedding, but girlfriend's going to have
Yeah.
some cut arms by the
Uh,
time, well, they already are a little bit, but they're going to be even better by the time April rolls around.
there you
We shall
go.
see. And we'll post some pictures of the cute wedding and the cute couple and everything and the cute dresses, all that
Exciting
stuff.
times.
So all of that directly does kind of tie into our topic of sexual empowerment versus sexualization. And this is actually something that as women, I think we have to figure out a fine line for because you always want to own at least in my feeling, you want to own your sexuality, you want to own your power, if you will. But there is definitely a fine line between you owning that and someone else or society in general sexualizing you or sexualizing women in general, just because I mean, you do see men get sexualized, I guess, to some degree, but like, let me give you
Yeah,
an example. Look, can I give you an example?
sure.
There is this comedian. She's really funny. She is on my Instagram and she's on our blonde and brunette one, actually, Instagram. And she's from the South. So she's got this hilarious accent. Well, every one of her posts is of a guy like maybe doing
I've
jumping
seen
jacks.
her.
Yes.
Yes, I've seen her. Yeah.
And their schlong is like, dude, you need to put like a jock strap on or something because it's like dancing all over the place. It looks like it's painful. But she comments on all these things. So is she
Yes,
sexualizing those
she
guys?
definitely is.
Yeah. But would the so if let's take that and reverse it. If that was a male comedian and he's got pictures of these or videos of women at the gym doing jumping jacks and their boobs are flying all over the place, are they sexualizing them? Are they
Yes.
sexualizing those women?
Yes, they are.
Okay. So I guess the question is, and this is where, you get into like rape culture, all that kind of stuff, is like you hear people or have heard people in the past say, well, they shouldn't have dressed like that. They shouldn't have behaved that way. They shouldn't have gone there. They shouldn't have done all like it's the woman's responsibility to ensure that she's safe because of whatever, she's wearing or what have you. But if you think about it, I guess when you're raising, let's say you're raising a daughter, do you want to raise your daughter? You want to raise your daughter to feel like she can be empowered to be a woman and be a girl and be proud of that. But where is that balance? What do you think?
Yeah. That's a tough one. Being the mother of boys, I had the boys that are looking at the girls, trying to balance that. So I think it's all in how it's presented, how we carry ourselves. And I'm saying we, that's anybody's daughter. We know because we're more mature now. We've kind of been through a lot of this. But how you carry yourself and present yourself, how you talk, how your facial expressions, your body language, all that stuff, I think is a part of that whole picture. I think
Yeah. So if you're
because
putting
you
it out
can,
there,
yeah, definitely. And you need to also, I think, know your audience,
I think
you
that's really
know,
important.
know your audience. If you're at a social event, what kind of social event is it? If if you're at some family gathering and what kind of gathering it is. There's all a work function, all these different kinds of things. You need to know your venue, know your audience, and how to present yourself.
Hmm.
Because, that you heard that, being a lady on the streets, but a freak
Freaking
in the
sheets.
sheet.
Yeah.
You can be that in at the right place and time, and you can
With
freak
the
the
right
date
person or the
with
right
the right
people,
place and time
whomever.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think
So
I think it does go the same for men, but there is a double standard and there
I,
always
I
has been,
I
you
do
know.
think that there definitely is a double standard because the patriarchal, this society is, so
Hmm.
men, yeah,
A
driven.
patriarchal society.
Yeah,
We're not hating on men. We're not
we're not.
hating on them right now, but they
This
are a
is
big
really,
component to this. I feel like as women, we are responsible for taking our own sexuality back. We're not, it is nobody else's privilege or ownership to tell me what I am able to do with my body, how I am projecting myself, that sort of thing. But to that point, given that we are at the place in our lives right now where we are, we can say that, I feel. And we weren't necessarily able to say that in the same way when we were 20, right? Because
right.
when we were raised with a different mindset in mind, perhaps, than some people, or maybe we had guidance. And so we knew to walk into things maybe with a little bit more class, I guess you could say, or, kind of thinking through, like you said, your audience and what that all entails.
Yeah.
So, if you're looking at sexual empowerment, I'm just going to kind of go through and define the differences between the two so we're really
I was going
clear,
to ask. Yeah,
yeah,
that'd be great.
on what we're talking about. Sexual empowerment is really kind of being in control of your own body and making decisions that reflect your desires and your boundaries. Okay. Whereas sexualization is external, more what society brings in, what society determines is appropriate or inappropriate, and how that is affected in like our social media or how people view things like sex appeal, like today versus 40 years ago. They might be very, very different, right?
Hmm.
There is a fine line, I think, between the two. As women, we have the responsibility to determine what works for us. And that's kind of my take on the whole thing.
No, I agree. We have the ability to determine what works for us, and at the same time, those outward influences or I can't think of the right word, but the things you were talking about, society and all of that, we don't have control over what their opinions are going to be. We do you see what I mean? Like we are empowered to have the control on how we're going to present ourselves, how we dress, all of those things, but we don't have control over how people might perceive that. So, you just got to be yourself. I'm
Right.
sitting here thinking it's really a lot.
It's a
There's really a
lot.
lot that
Well,
goes
think about it,
with
Michelle.
this.
It's like when you're talking about, we're talking about being grown women now. You're talking potentially about young girls because that's
Yeah.
where all this stuff starts. It all starts when they're little. It starts with even the colors that they're choosing, the toys that they're playing with, the things that they're not allowed to do because they're girls or whatever. All of those things kind of formulate the persona, if you will, of that young girl and what she's able to do, confident doing, and everything else. So as you get older, you're trying to figure out where you fit in all of that. Like what is your comfort level with the clothing that you're wearing? Or are you in an environment that is super judgmental and makes you take pause about the things that you're doing and wearing because you don't want to be judged?
Well, I mean, that just makes me think, growing up in the Mormon religion, modesty is like huge. You don't show your shoulders and not too much cleavage, just, dressing modestly. And there's nothing wrong with being modest. I'm not, putting that down at all.
No,
But I do know that as I got older, because of some of that, not all of it, but because of some of that, I was very curious. And as soon as I started working and could buy my own clothes and do all that, I was really out there with fashion and
mhm.
curious and trying it all.
Well, in fact, fashion truly is how you kind of exude your personality in a
Yeah,
lot of ways.
yeah,
What
yeah.
you're wearing and how you're wearing it and kind of the style that you have and
Hmm.
maybe that you're not like basic and the same as everybody else, but you've got your own
Hmm.
little twist to things. So
Yeah.
I think all of that directly relates to the confidence that someone has, a woman has.
Hmm.
And so again, we're just talking about women right now, but
Yeah.
I feel like if I am empowering my daughter, let's say, for example, to stand tall and to feel comfortable in her sexuality, in that she's dressing in a way to where she's, say, got a great figure and, she's tall and she has beautiful hair and she's got all this stuff. So she presents herself in a way and carries herself
Yeah.
in a way to where you take notice, not because
Hmm.
necessarily because she's coming across like a hoe, but because the way she carries herself.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously my daughter would never come across like a heck, I can't even get her to wear short sleeve shirts to the gym. But it's kind of along those same lines. And if you look at social media and everything to do with advertising in really more the United States probably than in other places. Everything really pushes you, as especially starting as a young girl, to try and mimic a lot of the things that they're seeing because that's what's
Hmm.
getting the attention. Even
Yeah.
if you look at like Instagram, we keep going back to social media, all those pictures of those gorgeous girls, but they're all thirst trap pictures. They're putting it out there because that's the attention that they're getting. Maybe they're
Well,
Instagram models or something.
so much of there's music and pop culture, all those things, Cardi B and WAP and the sensationalism that they put into all of that,
Yeah.
for young girls, that's such a trap, I think, on what it means to be a woman. That's just like not it at all.
Okay, so
I
let's
don't,
talk about
that's my
talk
opinion.
about people that we know in the media. Let's talk about the Beyoncés of the world or Rihanna or these people that these girls are striving to be toward, right? Or they see that as role models. Even Taylor
Hmm.
Swift is a role model, I suppose.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus, has been a role model. But these people have all kind of taken and owned their sexuality in a way that maybe is maybe uncomfortable that you don't want, a 13-year-old girl to come after. So, like Cardi B is an example, or Megan the Stallion, or any of these that they're totally
Megan
owning
the, gonna
themselves.
say the stallion, not the stallion. It's Megan
Megan
the.
the Stallion, yeah. Yeah. But it's like, but these girls, their sexuality is selling records,
Yeah,
and they're not apologizing for it. And
right,
heck, I feel like let them do it. It doesn't bother me any. But at the same
right,
time, I don't really want to see a bunch of 13-year-old girls walking around with booty shorts and twerking on a pole.
right,
It's not
right.
exactly the ideal circumstances. So
Yeah.
does go ahead.
No, I was just going to say therein lies, the whole parenting aspect too. There's just so much surrounding all of this
Hmm.
that's it's very, very jam-packed for
Very,
sure.
very, very jam packed. Well, if you had a daughter, how would you guide her if she was 13 years old?
I just have to think about I have a granddaughter that's going to be 11,
Yeah.
and you of course are going to guide by example. You're going to the things that you allow, the confidence that you do give in certain things, not shaming them,
Right.
but coming up with maybe different ways of, just like your food, coming up with different ways to zhuzh up a healthy recipe, only it's healthy, it doesn't have all the crap in it. Kind of the same thing that you can do with clothes and different things like that. Something that's along the same line, but maybe a little bit more presentable, but still looks, and has the vibe of whatever that is, till they're old enough to, kind of run with it and make their own decisions.
So the big thing now is crop tops.
Yes.
Wearing crop tops to school, like having basically. So if your daughter was like, "Yeah, I'm headed to school," and they've got like little shorts and a crop top, I think I'd have a meltdown. I'd be like, "Oh, hell no, you're not leaving the house."
Yeah.
And that's me being so old fashioned in a lot of ways, but I don't want my daughter to be objectified and sexualized. And
Right.
I know, even though she's trying to develop her own being, so to speak, it's like
Yeah.
the attention that corresponds with something like that is going to put potentially her in a category where she won't be taken seriously. So you're basically kind of fitting into what you believe will work for them in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. And I don't know that that's right either. They usually just want to fit in.
I'm just glad that I am done with that. My kids are grown. I didn't have girls. Honestly, I know girls are harder than boys. They are. I hear
Yeah,
that all the time.
they
A lot
are.
more to worry about, all of that. That's the thing, is there's so much more to worry about with a
Hmm.
girl, truly, than with a boy.
Okay, so let me ask you this now as a grown woman now, owning your sexuality on your own terms, what does that look like for you?
It is so inside of you. So inside of me, and I just go with what feels right for me. And I don't know what that is or how it comes across, but I don't know. It's just like we were talking about. You can the vibe and that you give off. There's we were talking about that the other night, how we can go out and, I'm looking good, I'm feeling good, I'm smelling good, but nobody tries to pick up on me because of the air that I have about myself. It's
Hmm.
like, don't mess with me. Of course, I'm taken. And I really feel like whatever it is, how you carry yourself and how you look at people, the things you say to people, it all
Hmm.
matters, you
It
know?
really does.
So, and I could be wearing the same thing, looking good, smelling good, feeling good. I could be having all of that, but give off a totally different vibe, and, flip the script, can be a little hoe out there too, and
Hmm.
winking, and how I'm talking, and how you're presenting yourself and how you're dancing, all of that stuff. All of
So would
that
that be
matters.
just another version of owning your sexuality? Like,
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
but it's
Yeah,
owning, so it's a version of owning your sexuality that doesn't necessarily resonate with you, but it
right.
might resonate with somebody else. And so,
Sure.
yeah, then you have to, okay, so going back to that, it's like if we're all out, all of us, the girls that we go
Yeah.
out with and stuff, and we've had that circumstance happen before where, well, I wasn't with you guys, but where you guys were out and there was a kind of a newcomer to our group who was not carrying herself in a way that made
Oh
everybody
yeah.
else comfortable. And,
Yes.
you were worried that she's going off with some people and God only
Yes.
knows what she was doing when she's going on.
Yes.
Those aren't people that we would necessarily
No.
hang out with. So
That's right.
there's a
That's right.
difference there. So let her go do her thing.
That's definitely, yeah, that was definitely an interesting, eye-opening learning experience, especially at our age.
Yeah.
And yeah, with what we're used to among ourselves, definitely. Yeah. Well, and if you haven't really hung out again,
Oh, we
she
probably
ha-
won't.
hasn't
Yeah.
hasn't yeah, joined the group. So
How do you
anyway,
think how do you think the sexualization of a girl's body or a woman's body can potentially impact their mental health?
I think that can be a big factor, because of, it goes along with so much of how we feel is emotional and,
Right.
mentally based on that. So, what do you think? That's a,
I feel like there is so much out there that more impressionable people maybe are striving for because they think that's what the norm is, that if they don't get the validation, it will impact their
right,
mental health, or they become a pick me girl, someone who wants that attention. And so they're going out of their way to get it in ways that might not be healthy.
right, right.
But bottom line, I think it comes down to is that you have to own what works for you. You have to own what
Yes, and
makes
I
you
think
tick.
that's that the key words right there is own.
Hmm.
Own what works for you. And if you own it and, it's something that you feel good about, that makes it even the more enjoyable,
Right.
just like everyday, even just everyday circumstances.
Yeah. Walking kind of
It's
in
just,
confidence with what you know.
yes,
And as an adult woman and grown women, it's like, women that are not necessarily in relationships, set relationships and things like that, it kind of takes on a
sure,
whole nother, yeah, because you may
layer.
not have one specific partner, or you may have partners that are, you might be more casual with how you approach it, but it's your choice how you do that too. Now,
Yeah,
I'm not saying that's good or bad or indifferent. I'm just saying that it's a whole nother realm, of what we're seeing
yeah,
here.
yeah.
So anyway,
There's a lot of facets around
there
this
there
subject.
really are. And I think
Yeah,
society has put a lot on our young girls in particular,
yeah,
which,
for sure.
now we're young girls that have turned into older women now. And we kind of, I don't know, I see it from a completely different perspective than I did when I was a kid. I mean, yeah,
Hmm.
you're looking for validation for certain things, I suppose. But I mean, I think I've told you that story of 12 or 13 years old wearing a bathing suit and being oblivious
Yeah,
that I'm wearing a bathing suit and being told I need to cover up because I look like a hooker,
yeah,
that kind of stuff,
yeah,
which you're kind of like, what? When you're
yeah,
12 or 13 years old, it's like, how does that even happen?
right.
But it formulates how you think about yourself and
Absolutely,
the
100%.
choices that you're making. Yeah, it really
Yeah,
does. So anyway, I had wanted to just to bring this up because I think it's something that we talk about, and I think it just becomes a part of like everyday life, and everybody just knows, that this stuff is out there. That, how you carry yourself, how you present yourself, whether you like it or not, is
yeah,
going to personify you. And you have to make a decision about what you're comfortable with. You
right.
know, there's
Yeah,
also the whole thing about code switching that when you think about, and men do it too, code switching can be lots of different things. It can be cultural, it can be the way you dress, the way you present yourself. But let's just say that you're someone who likes to, go dancing a lot, or likes to, I don't know, pole dance. I don't know, it doesn't really matter, but things that have nothing, the things that are more maybe sexual in nature. When you're at work, you don't necessarily exude that, so you're kind of
right.
carrying on a different persona when you're at work, but when you're off work, it's like a different thing. So when I say code switching, that's what I'm referring to. It's like
Okay.
you present yourself in one way for an employer or for your grandmother, or, the members of your family that you
Yeah,
have in that realm. And then when you go out with your friends, you might be a whole different person. You dress differently. It's kind of like when you go to Vegas. When you go to Vegas, it's like all bets are off.
Do you think it's a bad thing?
No, that part I don't, because you
No,
can
I
kind of
just mean
leave.
in general, because I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, well, I am who I am when I'm around my family and stuff, but then, there's another like layer when I'm with my friends. I guess there are versions,
Yeah,
or to your point, code switching.
yeah,
I think for the most part, there's a common thread throughout. Who I am at work really is for the most part who I am, all the
yeah.
time. And even when we go out, I guess for the most
You're kind
part,
of the grandma of the group now,
I am. I guess for the most part, I am. Yeah.
but that's
Anyway.
okay. She keeps us all grounded, right? Keeps us all
Okay.
grounded.
With that, we're
Here we're
ringing the
talking
bell.
about sexualizing, and what's our question?
So the question is, panty lines or no panty lines?
Well,
Is it sexy to have panty lines, or is it
no, it's not sexy to have panty lines.
to have no panty lines? I
It's
don't know.
better to
What do you
have no panty lines. But does
Okay,
that mean you're commando?
if that thong, is shown a little bit when you're bending over, is that sexy? I mean, that's
No.
kind of the same. That's why I like panty lines or panty showing or a little bit, whatever.
I don't know. Like I was at the gym the other day, and there's this. I'm just going to give this as an example because I really wanted to say something, but I didn't. There's this girl that takes the classes. She's darling, and she's been doing the classes around the same amount of time I have, and she's worked so hard, and she's just got the cutest little figure ever. Right? She's wearing like granny panties or something underneath her leggings, and you can see them. You can see like the lines and everything, which are it's just like, girl, I want to go take her shopping because
Then
I
get
just
her a
don't think
thong.
get her a thong. I just don't think she realizes, right? But yeah, I'm absolutely 100%. If there's going to be panty lines, then you just got to go commando, unless you have a thong.
But see, unless what?
Unless you have a thong and it'll work.
So thong panty lines are okay?
You can't see them.
Yes, you can.
Well, it depends what you're wearing.
You can. You can see thong panty lines. Now, and I'm not talking about peeking above the waistband either. Like sometimes when you got stretch pants on, and I don't mean you, I'm just saying when I've seen women wearing stretch pants. Boy, that's an old term. What are they called? Leggings now?
Do they have stirrups in them?
Okay, leggings or workout pants, whatever, and wearing a thong, and you can see the triangle.
Maybe
I'm
isn't
not
so
talking about
bad.
G-string. Obviously, you're not going to see that. But
Yeah.
triangle, you can see those lines with leggings sometimes.
Well, I'm thinking about like, say you're wearing a dress that has like, like more slinky fabric or something. If you wear panties underneath that you can see, it just takes away the
Yeah.
whole look.
I think we're in agreement. Like,
Yeah.
no panty lines is way sexier than panty lines.
100%. 100% agree.
Hmm.
Keeping that a buck, as some friend of mine would say.
And I probably never have panty lines.
No, you definitely don't. In the summertime, I don't either. But I just feel like there's better ways. I'm gonna go talk to my friend at the gym and just tell her. Maybe I'll bring her really cute little hanky pankies or something. Maybe I won't.
I was
Maybe
going
I
to say, oh, that's yeah, okay, yeah.
new ones,
I'm not
not
sure how that,
not
yeah,
mine.
no, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Okay. So yeah, I think we're in agreement on that one. We're
Yeah, for
definitely in
sure.
agreement. So
What do
get
you
rid of
think,
those damn
people?
granny panties,
I want to
people.
know. Hey, you know what? They're like everybody loves pineapple on their pizza. I found out. That's for sure. We had a
Oh
lot of
my gosh,
comments
I've
on
had a
that.
lot of feedback on the
That
pineapple.
they like the. I know the pineapple. Yeah, people were surprised that it makes things sweeter, and I'm glad we were able to educate.
We
So
educated.
we
Now,
did
what if you
educate.
have crotchless panties? Is it okay for those to have panty lines?
As long as you're eating
Only joking.
pineapple.
It's
As
time to
long
get
as you're eating pineapple.
as long as you're having pineapple.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're having fun with
Okay.
this, aren't we?
Yeah,
All
we
right.
are. Time to
Well,
wrap it
that's
up.
enough. That's enough on panty lines. I think
Yeah.
we've pretty much established as we're
Panty
talking
lines
about
and
our
pineapple.
what?
Panty lines and pineapple.
What's the next P?
I don't know.
We'll come up with something. Maybe on our next episode.
Porno?
So, porno?
Mm,
Penis?
I don't know. There's a lot of P's.
There's a lot of P's.
With that, you can find us out on all the socials, everybody. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. We are out there on any platform you listen to your podcast on. So go check us out.
Yeah, and Michelle's new nickname is Commando. Okay, bye, Michelle. Bye,
Bye,
guys. We'll see you
buddy.
next week.
Bye.
Bye. Oops. End session. Stop.